beside the fast, come on, read with me. Beside the fast famine unto Abimelech, the king of the Philistine, unto Gerar. The next verse. And the Lord appeared to him and said, go not down to Egypt. Go not down to Egypt. Dwell in the land in which I shall tell thee of. Verse 6. God had told him, stay in Gerar. Verse 6. And Isaac sowed in the land and received in the same year of famine, and waxed great, and went forward and grew until he became very great. Became very great. For he had possession of flock and possession of herds and great store of servants. And the Philistine envied him. These are levels of wealth. How does he come to that economic breakthrough? Famine, a plague, is used to direct him. Sometimes we are so quick to bind negativity. Sometimes we are so quick to mbano, to back to sender. We are so quick without allowing God to help us and read the signs thereof. So God is interested so much, and I emphasize, God is so much interested in us interpreting accurately the plagues that happens around us. One sign that God is ushering our nation into a great breakthrough, into a moment of revival, it is us interpreting what we are going through economically as a nation. If nobody explain it well and accurately to the king and to the president and to the, we might rotate here longer than we should. Hear me and hear me very well. The Bible said there was another way to go to Canaan, but God opted to go through another route. And if all your concentration, it is the drought, it is the harshness of the wilderness, then be prepared to stay longer in the wilderness. But if you are quick to dismember yourself with what God wants dismembered, then you can shorten your period in the wilderness. Can you imagine? Even with the whole wilderness saga, they had already reached to the border. And Moses said, before you enter, let us send some spies. Some leaders advised Moses to send some spies. They were just here, and some spies were sent. And then they came with conflicting report, you remember? And because of the conflicting report, they were to stay every 1 day in the spying. They took 40 days in the spy. Every day was converted to a year. So it became 40 years. What was happening? God was interested in dismembering certain people. The Bible said there are certain Egyptians who joyrided the exit. And Canaan is not for your friends. And mark you this, when they lived in Egypt, they had no law to tell them don't marry them. The law will come during the Exodus. Please follow me closely. So somehow there is a certain young man or a young woman from Egypt who had gotten married to this family, and they had oneness. So when they saw the miracles, the 9 miracles that were happening, some Egyptian also decided to get saved. Because miracles hastens belief. You're missing me. The Bible says in the book of John 2:11. In John 2:11. In John 2:11. He said, this beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples. And his disciples. So sometimes people believe easily when they see miracles take place. So when they saw the darkness of 3 days, when they saw the frogs, when they saw River Nile become bloody, they believed. And therefore now they journeyed. They joined the Exodus. But they were not members of Canaan. And therefore God changed the route. So that through the harshness of the desert, of the wilderness, it is not the Israel to retrieve. It is the Egyptians who are targeted to retrieve. Now see what happened in, do I remember very well? In Numbers 11. In Numbers 11. Around verse 13, is it 13 or thereabout? It talks about the mixed multitude. It talks about the mixed multitude. And he said they longed for meat. So it is not the Israelis who are remembering the melons of Egypt. It is the Egyptians in the camp of the Israelis that said how we long for the melons and the cucumbers. So certain people's cravings may cost you because you're still agglutinated to them. You are still endeared to them. And the reason why God is taking you through the process of a wilderness is so that anyone who is not part of your future, they are left. But now see how you drag them. And they keep on reminding you of the different cucumbers and many things that they ate there. And this results to more delay and more delay and more pain and more struggles. So one of the things that the church in Kenya must understand at times now is, are we interpreting the season accurately? Is this economic recession, is this hardness of economy and high cost of living, should teach us? Let me tell you, brethren, and I say this with all humility. If there is someone who should learn to quit politics, is a believer. Not to quit in a way not to participate, but to quit to be at par with the political thinking. Because for us, we may say we have the third eye. When they operate with two eyes, we have the third eye. We have an intuition. We have a conscience. And therefore, when they have reached and they have and their thoughts and analysis politically ends here, we should not end where they end. Because for us, we have a better idea. We have access to the mind of God. For them, they may not have that privilege. But for us, we have that privilege, access to his mind. And we can ask God, why are we going through this? And God will tell you, I am doing a cleansing for your city. I'm doing a cleansing for your nation. And therefore, when you understand it's a cleansing, then I don't know whether some of us grew. For me, my village was a bit different. And when I grew up, I was a typical boy. And most boys of my time, they didn't love showers. Going to the bathroom was the last thing you wanted to hear. Of course, the bathing process was once in a week. And the rest of the day, you would just do evening feet washing. And even that was an issue. But I now, later on, I have stopped judging myself harshly. Because we grew where there were so many, we didn't have proper fields. Our fields were not carpeted like here. Our fields were just grass and small thorny bushes and everything. So as you walk around it, there is so much scratch. And as they scratch you, there is no problem at that time. But I don't know what happened with the scratch and water. And because I come from these arid places, all our water are salty. So the scratches coming in contact with the water, it was something you didn't want to experience. So on Saturday, that is the day you woke up the earliest to make sure you don't take a shower. And our parents would insist. And of course, the washing was never easy. For me, because I was the last born, others were told to chase me and hold me. And I am brought. My friend, I don't know why the soap of those days used to be so bitter. And however you close your eyes, it will enter. And it was not very easy growing up those days. And the scrubbing. We didn't have these good things that nowadays I see my children, they are buying gloves. You know, and they scratch themselves. For us, it was a sack that has been burnt on the end. And therefore, the rubbing against your skin, it wasn't one of the things you would admire to have. Yet, it used to happen. So now, that entire process is what I compare it with the nation right now. If God is cleansing us as a nation, the rubbing is not easy. The rubbing is not easy. And Daniel explained something very powerful from Daniel 11:32 to 35. And I want us to read closely because we love 32, especially part B. The part B, of course, is where we will start. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploit. We end here. But I want you to follow closely. Those who know their God, they are called men of understanding. And he says, they that understand among the people shall instruct many. That's good. That sounds good also. Shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by sword and by flame, by captivity, by spoil, and many days. The next. He says, now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little, but many shall cleave and with flattery. And some of them of understanding shall fall. Those who are mighty and strong and doing exploit, they shall also fall. But I want you to follow it closely. Then now give me different versions of the same. This version says, they shall fall to try them, to purge them, and to make them white. Another version. This one say, the testing will refine, cleanse, and purify those who keep their head on straight and stay true. So sometimes you may fall. The intention of the fall is not that you are crushed, but God is intending to purify you. But you see, most of us cannot relate elevation and a fall. And that's where the problem is right now. Even then, how are you telling me that there is a cleansing you are doing in my nation? Well, the cost of living is so harsh for your people. And you see, sometimes it is easier to read Bible, but it is not very easy to contextualize. When you read it, you feel like, okay. Because like when I was asking God that question, he kept on referring to me. What did Elijah do when he wanted to cause a cleansing in the entire nation? Jezebel has brought all the false prophets. Jezebel has brought all the evil gods, the Asherah and Baal and all that. And now Elijah declares there will be famine, a plague. For 3.5 years, there was no rain. People suffered. If you are to appear to a widow who is about to die and tell her, you know, this drought is God cleansing us, she will tell you, shut up. You and that God, please, can you take a leave? You are sadists. Sadist. How do you tell us it's a cleansing? Is God short of ways to cleanse us? But are you ready to be cleansed other way? Okay, the boy me, those days, running away. Do you really expect there was any other way of me to be clean except being held like a machine gun? Nilikuwa nashikaniwa na wanaume brothers and two sisters. Two on that end and two on this end. Hand and the leg. You are naked. When they soapy you, you become slippery. One day I'm told, because I can't remember very well, I am told I managed to slip off. Naked soapy. And I took off. I'm telling you, these are histories. Sometimes my sister tells me and say, me, the way nowadays I love even swimming. You see, if it is now, I have options. Even if I refuse to take a shower, I will go to the swimming pool and somehow water will deal with me. But those days, I see rain, I go hiding. So, if they say there is another way of cleansing me, I was not available for any other means apart from that one. So sometimes we may want God to cleanse us otherwise. But are Kenyans patient with otherwise washing? The same Kenyans who pray desperately anytime they see chaos are coming. We get close to God. And immediately after election like this, and announcements have been done, and there is no people breaking shops. You see, we knew. This is our guy. Now, we all quit the prayer language and we now go back to our political conversations. And I tell you, brethren, Kenyans where we are, there is a cleansing process that God has subjected our nation into. The question is, are we complying? Are we making it easier for the washing? Are we making it easier? I tell you for free, sometimes being a prophet in Kenya, it's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. If you prophesy to people good things, then you are a prophet. If you tell them hard things, you are not of God. You are a doomed prophet. You are a very bad man. So it becomes very hard